yeah, what would you guys say is
I mean,
the
similar to
governing
you.
factor? Yeah.
Similar to you, like we're lucky enough, and I say I'm lucky enough to grow up in a household where religion was pushed. You know, the religion was pushed. So the underlying factors, like being good, being a good person, being a decent person, being nice to people, all of that stuff. I'd say a lot of my moral basis comes from that. I'd say a lot of the things that I put next synonymized with purpose comes from that. You've got to be a good person in this world. I think anything that goes away from that tells me that I'm not on the right path. You know, I like to help people. I understand that in this world, it's easier to do wrong than it is to do good. So I understand that there's work that comes with trying to be good. So I'm all right with the work as well. So I'd say the governing factor, religion is a major part, but talking about the paradigm shift earlier on, pain is also something that forces you to have that sort of purpose, you know, when you felt something before. Because you know what, it's funny, we talk about all of this in a structured way, right? But when we're talking about survival, morality is out of the window. When you're worried about your next meal, all you feel is your ribs touching. Morality goes out of the window. So for me, I always think when you're in a place where all you got to do is survival, all you care about is survival, it's very, very difficult to speak about moral basis, moral compass and purpose and stuff like that, because at that moment in time, all you ever care about is, I've got to eat. You know what I mean? But that kind of segues into another conversation that I'll hopefully going to have soon about sort of us as a community, like black people as a community, and us trying so hard to be positive and attain certain things, even though economically we're not where we need to be. But yeah, that's another conversation. I don't want to sort of digress.
Okay. Just I don't want to go off, so just ask the question one more time.
So I said, why is it important to have purpose? Because I feel like, yeah, we've defined it. And the second part of the question was like, what governs, what are the governing factors behind what gives you purpose?
Yeah. I think for me, again, similar to Sylves, having a relationship with God is what, for me, defined my purpose. You know, when I got closer to God, when I drew closer to God, then I was able to understand what my purpose is. Also, looking at what my gifts and talents, you know, that I have naturally, that God has given to me, nurturing those and using my gifts to bless others, using my gifts for, you know, making the world a better place, you know. So whether that is, if you're good at, you know, speaking, using that to speak to people and empower people, if you're naturally able to help others, using that in the right way to help others, you know. So I think for me, having a relationship with God and also understanding myself, understanding what I'm good at, my strengths and my weaknesses and my talents, and being obedient to what God wants me to do with those. Because, you know, going again, talking about, I don't know if you know the parable of the talents. You know that story?
No, remind me. I forgot.
So the parable of the talents is where, you know, there's, in the parable,
is it the one where there's a master and he gives...
There's a master and he gives...
one servant 5 talents, another
Exactly.
servant 2 talents, another servant 1 talent. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'll let you continue, yeah.
In that particular story, you know, you've got the servant who buries his talents, you've got the servant who multiplies his talents, you know. So whatever God has given us, we have to multiply it. We have to use it for, you know, edifying what we've been identified to do, you know. So, and if you bury it, in the story it says, you know, you're wicked, you know. So we don't want to be wicked, we want to be obedient to our master, which in our case is God. And, you know, we want to use our talents for his glory and to multiply it, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I stand on purpose, you know. It's important for us to identify our talents, use those talents. and I don't know if you guys have seen it and this has happened to you, but have you ever had like an idea, you don't do nothing about it, and then next thing you know, you got someone else doing the same thing?
Yeah, that happens a lot of the time.
That happens a lot. So to me, that shows that if you don't, you know, if you're not obedient and if you don't follow what, you know, that purpose or that idea that God gives you, He'll give it to someone else who is going to be obedient to make that happen.
No, facts. And I think to answer my own question, I think it's important to have purpose, because if you don't, for me, myself, if I don't have purpose, I feel like, why am I here on this planet? Like, what am I contributing? What am I doing for myself? And what governs my purpose, like we've already said, and Daps has said, is like my faith. If I never had my faith, I think I'd be a very lost individual. So I think that helps me keep in check. And what I want to ask now is, like, I feel like motivation and resilience are heavily tied in with purpose. How do we stay motivated with regards to our purpose? How do we stay resilient when life kind of knocks us off course?
For me, motivation, resilience, I love those words. I'll add one more. I'd say tenacity as well. I say those three things for me are probably the most important. How do I stay motivated? It's simple for me. When we're talking about purpose and we're talking about what it is that we want to achieve, if I take you back to the start, I said it's something that's bigger than me, right? Now, for me to give up on something that I feel like is bigger than me, it's a little bit selfish. That's how I perceive it. You know, if I was working on something just for myself, something that just benefits myself, then yeah, that's fine. I could probably give up on myself. But I'm working for thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. I'm trying to influence people. I'm trying to touch people in ways that benefits their lives. I can't give up just because I can't be bothered in the morning. That's not the way that I'm wired. So for me, the motivation stems from having a goal that's bigger than me, being selfless in everything that you're doing, devoted in what you're looking to do. Now for me, there isn't no there's nothing economically, financially that could replace that for me. If I can have an effect on people, then I've lived a good life. And I started from a young age, so for me now, it's like it's embedded in me as a being. So yeah, for me to answer your question, it's definitely having something that's bigger than me. Otherwise, it'd be selfish to just quit just because I'm having a rough morning.
But would you say you've always had that same thought pattern?
In terms of?
Like, okay, you said, oh, it's bigger than you. So you know that this is not just for me. I'm serving others and what I'm going to do is going to impact other people's lives. But would you say you thought that from a young age, or was there like a eureka moment?
No, there wasn't a eureka moment, you know. Like for me, it's always been, yeah, like what I can do for others. Because like for me, you got to really understand the story to understand a man. Like when we're dealing with me, like I really come from somewhere where you wasn't supposed to win. Like I really grew up around people that people look at in society as probably at the bottom, right? So there's a lot of work that's gone into wanting to be someone. There's a lot of experiences that you've seen that you feel like, right, like you could do so much with yourself if only you had the application, if only you had the discipline. There's a lot of people that were born in situations, unfair circumstances, in my opinion, that unfortunately they've allowed, and I say allowed loosely, but they've allowed their circumstances to define their futures. Do you get what I'm saying? How do I stop that? You know, a couple of years ago, I'm not sure if you man know actually, I used to mentor young people that come out of jail. Yeah. I used to mentor young people
when
that
you used to
come
go
out of jail.
into the prisons?
Exactly. Youth offenders. There was one particular mentee that I had, and I remember him, man. I thought he was a good guy, man. A lot of people are misunderstood. I felt like he was a good guy, just caught up in the wrong stuff. And for me, he wasn't keen on meeting me because he felt like, I don't know, I was part of the system, but I had to make him understand, I wasn't getting no financial, you know what I mean? This is me doing it because I care. I care about the young people of the world, right? And after that, we built a bond. He called me one night, though. he called me one night and he said to me, Silves, I've just been kicked out of my, because he was living with his mate. Sorry, he was living with his mate and his mate's mum, his mate's mum's house. And, you know, she'd go to work, she'd come back, and they're in the same position as she had left them during the day. And it's all well and good you being my son and me being annoyed at you, but also having your mate here, I can understand it got a bit too much for her. So she kicked him out. She said, yeah, you're going to have to. He's come from a single parent household. His mum don't want him, his dad don't want him, because he's gone jail and whatever. He had nowhere to stay that night. That's the very last time I spoke to him. I couldn't get in contact with him after. Now for me, it's like, how can I say I really want to help people if I can't really help people? Because at that moment there, I couldn't do nothing to change his situation. I ain't never going to forget that, because now for me, it's like, no, we need tangible things. Like, we need tangible things to be able to affect these people, man. So yeah, it's never been like a eureka moment. It's just an understanding that I'm here for a reason. And that's to show people that there is a better way. And I know they hate that I'm doing it different, but it don't really matter to me.
No, much respect, much respect.